according to Finbold, XRP is weakening. And after all this hype and announcements and partnerships, the price not only has failed, it's failed to increase, and now it's starting to decrease. The thing I want to highlight about this article is how much you can tell that Finbold and whoever wrote this article is a hater of XRP. Now, in the spirit of transparency, I am not a financial advisor, and you certainly should not do anything because of anything I say or write. I am simply just some guy on the internet who's sharing his opinion. Now, another thing I will say is I am an XRP maximalist. I don't believe in many other coins other than XRP and XLM and the things connected to it. So I'm not going to do what I did the last video and read the entire article. And what I'm going to say is that some of the things that this writer is saying has very little to do with what's going on right now. And this article makes no attempt to mention that a lot of XRP's decline has been traced back to dark pools. There are dark pools that manipulate the price down to give institutions a discount buy. And also to make yet another harassing attempt to get XRP holders who had invested at under $1. Hey, just take your 120 something percent and just let us hyper pump this thing, hyper inflate it to 5 figures so we can scam you out of more money. Because in terms of technological, in terms of the technological advancement combined with legal clarity, combined with all the connections, XRP is number one. It's not Bitcoin. Except for supply, Bitcoin is superior when it comes to the supply, and I don't hold any. It's too expensive for my blood. I can barely afford groceries, let alone Bitcoin. However, what I would say is that in every other major category, XRP has Bitcoin, Ethereum, and every other coin beat by light years. And Finbold here makes absolutely no attempt to mention why the price has gone down when the majority of that reason is because of dark pools, and there is, according to this, less network activity. So the thing is, with less network activity, of course there would be less price action happening. And what happens, and I read this in several books about trading stock, what happens when a price stalls for a while? People get nervous and they panic sell. So the theme in this video is don't pay much of any attention to Finbold because they don't really do much of their research. So once again, toward the bottom of this particular screenshot, it's about, the SEC is keeping things on hold by delaying a decision on Franklin Templeton's proposed spot XRP ETF until June 17th. Naturally, this has left investors feeling a little uneasy. Because if you haven't noticed what happens in the WAR of information, well, what happens with that kind of debacle is that people will say, look over here, don't look over there. So this article is a perfect example of what happens when you look towards, these joker coins, Litecoin and Lightchain AI. This is probably the fifth or sixth article I've seen in a 60-day time span about what I think are completely worthless coins. And if you were to click on the blue, which means it's a hyperlink, it takes you to a page where you can buy into it. But here's the thing. The thing is that if you are so convinced that light chain is going to 5x. How do you, why is it that you're trying to get people to come in to dilute the pool? Oh, could it be that you're trying to get people to pump these coins like Caspa? I have not even heard of Caspa. Litecoin, too expensive for my blood. Investors are not, at least investors in XRP, are not turning to these coins without a later conspiracy to come back to XRP, XLM, and so on later. They're not going to do it because that would be yeah. It's like that would be the equivalent of being a slack-jawed moron, in my opinion, of course. So this is really just the rest of the article down to the bottom of the page, and you can read it if you'd like. However, what I wanted to highlight here is, it says the new RLUSD stablecoin. This has sparked some questions about where XRP fits in it moving forward. The thing is that XRP was not created for no reason, and XRP would not be mentioned by too big to fail banks like Bank of America, and I believe it's Wells Fargo, I believe. Don't quote me on that last one. But they wouldn't mention XRP for it to pause and then crumble. They have teams. They've had meetings with Ripple, but Finbold here makes absolutely no mention of those partnerships. They make no mention of the fact that it's not just Ripple they're working with, it's XRP that they're working with. And this is not a conspiracy theory in the slightest. XRP has been confirmed to be an asset that's going to be used by the banks for payments amongst other things. And I'm going to share my opinion as just me. Now, I heard somewhere, and I've been adjusting my thoughts accordingly, I heard somewhere that RLUSD's speed is actually underlying in XRP. As in XRP's code and technology is what gives RLUSD its speed. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not. So, I know people might come screaming in the comment section if I actually had people commenting here that weren't bots, because I fight the bots, I delete them, I ban them the instant I see them, because I'd rather have real people talking to me as opposed to, as opposed to bots. I'd rather have no comments than, if it does not help me in the algorithm, then so be it. But at least YouTube and everyone else knows, whoever visits my channel, that I don't put up with bots. Even if it means taking a hit to my engagement, then so be it. All right. So anyway, Finbold, this is like the third time in under 2 weeks that you've done this. I don't know how you could get away with not having shame. So let's go on to see what else it says. It says in the paragraph above the subtitle, about Caspa. It says, still XRP is holding its ground as one of the top cryptocurrencies by market cap. Yeah, that's because dark pools are manipulating it. That's why. If dark pools stop manipulating it, and by the way, the XRP lawsuit is 9% over. There still is that whole thing with Annalisa Torres, how she's like, hey, settlement denied. It's still 125 million. That's the last thing we heard of it. We don't know if Ripple or the SEC is going to fight this. We don't know what's going to happen. But either which way, that was the last bad news to hit Ripple. Now, personally, I think the 125 million was deserved, because there is no telling how many meetings that Ripple had with these financial people behind closed doors, all the NDAs that were signed. I heard it was about 1,700 NDAs. So much stuttering. Non-disclosure agreements. So, yeah, it's probably never coming down beneath $2 because that's where a few institutions got in and they don't line up to lose. All right, so now we have Caspa and Litecoin. Speed, efficiency, and long-term credibility. What a joke. The Ghost Dog Protocol. Yeah, right. It's like, oh, Litecoin. Hey, guys, look, they're trying to say, look, leave XRP, sell off your XRP, come on over here and pump our bag so we can make money. So, Finbold, I don't know if your writers or as a company you hold any of these coins that you be promoting, but either which way, this is sad to give up the number one most connected asset on planet Earth, which is XRP, in exchange for Lightchain, which is going through a pre-sale right now, and Litecoin and Caspa, whatever the heck these things are, you got to be out of your damn mind. You got to be out of your freaking mind. So that's really all I wanted to say about this article. It's really, really sad. No, Litecoin and Lightchain does not stand out from XRP. No, it doesn't. No, the heck it doesn't. It only stands out as being a Bitcoin ripoff, and you'd have to be an absolute idiot to believe in Bitcoin ever over XRP when XRP has the speed, it has the connections. Bitcoin is the pet rock, as Moon Lambo would put it, of crypto. It was good for what it was good at the time. We have gotten on with the times. Bitcoin is like the Ford Model T, and XRP is a Lamborghini. With twin motor going from 0 to 90 miles an hour in 4 seconds flat. So, Bitcoin, you fired. Get out of my office.